high alpine peaks, through ancient forests, and over blue ice glaciers. A hiker on the PCT treads the habitat of cougars, bears, and rattlesnakes while navigating exposed ridges with sheer drop-offs, or fording rivers swollen with spring runoff. From the first moment I learned of this trail's existence, I was drawn to the beauty and the challenge. In my late 20s, I came close to taking the plunge and attempting the hike. But at the time I was married to a man who couldn't bear being uncomfortably warm, at least not for the length of time it would take to traverse the desert sections of Southern California. I considered going solo, but I let myself be persuaded by his claims that he could no more bear my absence than he could the desert. Ironically, little more than 1 year later, he was the one who abandoned our relationship under circumstances that left me without the financial or emotional resources for a trip of such magnitude. Over the years, I continued to backpack, but with less frequency. In my mid-30s, I bought a piece of land in northern Wisconsin with my partner at the time, Jessica. Living right in the wooded beauty of the Northland every single day reduced the urgency of my desire to tramp around with a backpack. In fact, I became so attached to my 40 acres of heaven that I struggled to tear myself away for any length of time. Yet, the dream of the PCT still nagged at me. By the time I was 39, Jessica and I had split up, and she now lived in Baltimore. I had accumulated some savings, and, with no major responsibilities and no major impediments, the reason to put off a hike dwindled. I am not one of those naturally athletic people. I knew if I didn't try the PCT soon, my window of opportunity might disappear. Just before my 40th birthday, I quit my perfectly good job working as an analyst for environmental groups and decided to give it a try. I brought certain weaknesses to the endeavor: outdated gear, inexperience in both desert and high alpine navigation, about 15 pounds of extra body weight, and a history of problems with my feet and knees. I also brought a few strengths: the ability to be emotionally self-sufficient, a feeling of comfort and competence in the backcountry, and a tendency to stay calm when problems arise. I hoped these qualities would carry me far enough to at least make a good showing. A few facts about the Pacific Crest Trail. It begins near the tiny desert town of Campo, amidst a swarm of Homeland Security personnel. It ends in a forested wilderness at the border between Washington State and British Columbia. Yesteryear's far-sighted conservation pioneers and today's far-sighted conservationists are to thank for its existence. When Congress passed the National Trails System Act in 1968, the PCT was one of the original trails envisioned, though it took decades to complete. The route so frequently gets flooded, burned, and rerouted for dozens of other reasons. It's hard to call it ever truly completed, but since 1993 there has been a discernible path and an official route for the entire 2,700-odd miles. Roughly 800 people attempted to hike the entire trail the same year I did, though the number of annual through-hike attempts is growing rapidly. Typically, about 60% of hikers make it the entire way. According to the Pacific Crest Trail Association, at least 2,600 have succeeded in completing the hike. By comparison, somewhere around 3,000 people have climbed Mount Everest. The overwhelming majority of hikers, myself included, start in the south in the spring and reach the northern end in the fall. Only a few hardy folks are willing to rush southward in time to cross Central California's high Sierras before winter storms hit, and to arrive in an extraordinarily dry Southern California at the end of summer. I spent my late winter free time putting together 13 food